Marcus Johnson stood in the rain outside the Pinnacle Hotel. This was his hotel. He owned it. But tonight, no one would know that. Marcus was tired. He had just come back from a long trip to Japan. His business meetings there had gone well, but the 14-hour flight had left him feeling drained. His driver had dropped him off at the wrong entrance, and now his clothes were getting wet. Marcus was the CEO of Johnson Luxury Group. He owned 5 big hotels around the country. The Pinnacle was his best hotel. It was a tall, beautiful building in downtown Chicago with 50 floors. Most people would call their staff ahead of time to prepare for their arrival. Marcus could have gone straight to his private suite at the top of the hotel. But tonight, he had a different plan. "I want to see how my hotel treats regular guests," he thought to himself. Marcus believed that to run a good business, you had to know how customers felt. He wanted to check in like a normal person. He pushed through the big glass doors. The lobby was busy with people in nice suits. No one looked at Marcus. In his simple black jacket and jeans, with his hair messy from the rain, he didn't look like someone important. That was exactly what he wanted. Marcus walked up to the front desk. A young woman with a name tag that said Sarah smiled at him. "Good evening, sir. Welcome to the Pinnacle. How can I help you?" she asked. "I need a room for tonight," Marcus said simply. Sarah nodded and started typing on her computer. "Do you have a reservation with us?" "No," Marcus replied. "I decided to stay here at the last minute." Sarah's smile got a little smaller. "I see. Let me check what we have available." Her fingers moved quickly across the keyboard. "We're very full tonight because of the tech conference in town, but we do have a standard room on the 5th floor. Marcus knew this wasn't true. He had checked the hotel's booking system on his phone during his flight. There were several empty luxury suites on the top floors, but Sarah wasn't offering him those rooms. "Is that the only room available?" he asked. "For people without reservations, yes," Sarah said firmly. "The standard rooms are still very nice, I promise." Marcus didn't argue. He handed over his credit card without saying anything. He watched as Sarah swiped the card. Suddenly, she paused and looked at the name on the card. "Is something wrong?" Marcus asked. "No, sir," she said quickly. "It's just funny that you have the same name as our company's owner." She laughed a little. "That must be interesting sometimes." Marcus smiled. "Yes, it has its moments." Sarah continued checking him in. She didn't look up at his face again. "Breakfast is from 6 to 10 a.m. in the restaurant on the 40th floor. The gym and pool are on the 3rd floor, open all day and night. The Wi-Fi password is in your key card packet." She handed him the key for room 512. "Just so you know, the 5th floor doesn't have great views, but the rooms are decent." "Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate your help," Marcus said. As he turned to walk away, someone called out from across the lobby. "Mr. Johnson." Marcus turned around. Michael Chen, the hotel manager, was running toward him with wide eyes. Michael had worked with Marcus for 8 years. He recognized his boss immediately. "Mr. Johnson, we weren't expecting you until tomorrow." Michael looked scared as he looked back and forth between Marcus and Sarah. Behind the desk, Sarah's face turned white as she realized who she had just been talking to. She had given the CEO and owner of the hotel, her boss, one of the worst rooms when better ones were available. Marcus just smiled. His experiment was already showing him exactly what he needed to know about his hotel. The lobby of the Pinnacle Hotel went quiet. Everyone turned to look at Marcus Johnson and Michael Chen. Sarah stood frozen behind the desk. Her face was still white with shock. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Johnson," Michael began, his voice shaking. "We had no idea you were coming today. We can move you to the presidential suite right away." Marcus raised his hand to stop Michael from talking. "It's okay, Michael. Sarah has been very helpful getting me checked in." Sarah looked like she might faint. "Mr. Johnson, I had no idea it was you. I can change your room immediately to a better one." We have several suites available on the top floors. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Just a minute ago, Sarah had told him there were only standard rooms available. Now she was saying there were suites free. This was exactly why he had wanted to check in like a normal person. Actually, Marcus said calmly, I'd like to keep the room you've given me. He turned to Michael. But I would like you to meet me for breakfast tomorrow at 8 a.m. We need to talk about how guests experience our hotel. Michael nodded quickly. Of course, sir. I'll be there. Marcus picked up his wet suitcase and walked toward the elevators. Behind him, he could hear Michael whispering urgently to Sarah, explaining who Marcus really was. Marcus didn't look back. He wasn't trying to embarrass Sarah. He wanted to understand why his hotel treated different guests differently. In the elevator, an older couple smiled at Marcus. Which floor? The man asked. 5, please, Marcus replied. The woman looked surprised. Only the 5th floor. We're on the 32nd. The views are amazing up there. Marcus just smiled. I'm sure they are. When the elevator stopped at the 5th floor, Marcus stepped out. The hallway carpet was a bit worn. The paint on the walls looked old. This didn't match the perfect pictures on the hotel's website. He found room 512 and opened the door. The room was small but clean. The bed looked comfortable, but Marcus quickly noticed problems. The window didn't close all the way, letting in cold air. The bathroom had only basic soap and shampoo, not the luxury items the website promised for all rooms. The TV was old, not the new smart TVs advertised. Marcus sat on the bed and took out his phone. He opened the hotel's website and looked at the pictures of standard rooms. They showed large rooms with beautiful views and modern furniture. His room looked nothing like those pictures. He took pictures of everything in the room. Then he called room service. Room service, how may I help you? A friendly voice answered. This is room 512. I'd like to order dinner, please, Marcus said. Of course, sir. What would you like? Marcus ordered a steak and a glass of wine. The person taking his order sounded polite, but when Marcus asked how long it would take, the answer surprised him. About 45 minutes to an hour, sir. We're very busy tonight with the conference guests. Marcus knew that guests in the upper floors usually got their food in 20 minutes or less. Another difference in service. After hanging up, Marcus continued to inspect the room. He tested the shower and found that the hot water took 3 minutes to start working. He checked the internet speed and found it was much slower than it should be. An hour and 15 minutes later, his food finally arrived. The steak was cold. The server didn't apologize for the delay. Will there be anything else, sir? The server asked, already turning to leave. No, thank you, Marcus said. The server left without another word. Marcus ate his cold dinner and thought about what he had learned. His hotel had 2 different standards, one for special guests and another for regular people. This was not what he had built his business to be. As he lay in bed that night, Marcus could hear the wind whistling through the gap in the window. He made a plan for his meeting with Michael tomorrow. Things at the Pinnacle Hotel were going to change. Big changes were coming. In the morning, Marcus showered, dressed, and headed to the restaurant on the 40th floor. Michael was already there, looking nervous. Marcus was ready to share what he had learned, and he knew exactly what needed to be done to fix his hotel. Marcus sat at a table by the window in the Skyline restaurant on the 40th floor. The view of Chicago was beautiful. He could see the whole city from up here. This was very different from his room on the 5th floor, which looked out at a brick wall. Michael Chen, the hotel manager, walked in at exactly 8 a.m. He wore a perfect suit and a worried look on his face. He sat down across from Marcus. Good morning, Mr. Johnson, Michael said, his voice shaking a little. I hope you slept well. Marcus looked at Michael. They had worked together for 8 years. Michael was good at his job, but something had gone wrong at this hotel. I didn't sleep well, actually, Marcus said calmly. The window in room 512 doesn't close all the way. Cold air came in all night, and the hot water took 3 minutes to start working this morning. Michael looked down at the table. "I'm very sorry, sir. We can move you to a better room right away." "That's not the point, Michael," Marcus said. "I want to know why any guest at my hotel would have these problems. Why are there two different Pinnacle hotels? One for special guests and one for regular people." Michael looked uncomfortable. "Sir, we have different levels of rooms for different prices. That's normal in the hotel business." "Yes," Marcus agreed. "But every room should work properly. Every guest should get good service. I ordered dinner last night. It took over an hour to arrive, and the food was cold." Michael's face went pale. "I'll speak to the kitchen staff immediately." Marcus shook his head. "Again, that's not the point. I want to know why this is happening in my hotel." Michael was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke honestly. 3 years ago, when we opened, everything was perfect. But then we started cutting costs. We fixed things in the expensive rooms first. We gave better service to people who paid more. It seemed like good business." Marcus listened carefully. "Show me the numbers. How many people stay in standard rooms compared to suites?" Michael took out his tablet and pulled up some data. "About 70% of our guests stay in standard rooms. Only 30% stay in suites or premium rooms. So most of our business comes from people we're giving worse service to?" Marcus asked. Michael nodded slowly, understanding the problem now. "Here's what we're going to do," Marcus said. He took out his phone and showed Michael the pictures he'd taken of room 512. "I want every room in this hotel to be fixed. Every window should close properly. Every shower should have hot water right away. Every guest should get the same quality of service, no matter what they pay." "That will cost a lot of money," Michael said nervously. "It will cost more if we lose customers," Marcus replied. "People talk. They write reviews online. If 70% of our guests have bad experiences, our business will fail." Michael nodded. "You're right. I'll make a plan today." "Good," Marcus said. "And I want to talk to Sarah, the receptionist from last night." Michael looked worried again. "Are you going to fire her?" Marcus shook his head. "No. I want to offer her a new job." After breakfast, Marcus met with Sarah in a small office. She looked scared when he walked in. "Mr. Johnson, I want to apologize again for last night," she began. "Sarah," Marcus interrupted, "you did your job according to the hotel's policies. That's not why I wanted to talk to you." Sarah looked confused. "You've worked here for 3 weeks, right?" Marcus asked. She nodded. "In that time, what have you noticed that could be better at this hotel?" he asked. Sarah thought for a moment. Then she spoke. "The rooms on the 5th floor always have problems. Guests complain, but we're told not to upgrade them unless they pay more. Also, the breakfast doesn't have good options for people with food allergies." Marcus smiled. "That's exactly what I need to know. How would you like a new job? I want you to help me make this hotel better for all guests." Sarah's eyes went wide. "Really? But I thought you would be angry with me." "I'm not angry with you," Marcus said. "I'm grateful. You showed me something important about my hotel. Now I can fix it." As Sarah left the office, Marcus started making phone calls. He was going to change everything. The Pinnacle Hotel would become what he had always wanted it to be, a place where every guest felt special, no matter who they were or how much they paid. Marcus had learned something important by staying in his own hotel. And now he was ready to make big changes. 3 months had passed since Marcus Johnson stayed in room 512 of his own hotel. The Pinnacle Hotel looked the same from the outside, but inside, everything was different. Marcus sat in his office on the top floor, looking at the new numbers on his computer screen. The hotel's ratings online had gone up. More guests were coming back for second and third stays. Money was coming in faster than before. There was a knock on his door. "Come in," Marcus called. Sarah walked in, smiling. She looked different now. She wore a nice suit and carried a tablet computer. Her new job title was Guest Experience Manager. "Good morning, Mr. Johnson," she said. "I have the monthly report for you." "Thank you, Sarah. And please, call me Marcus," he reminded her. He had told her this many times, but she still used his formal name. "Sorry, Marcus," she said with a small laugh. "Old habits." Marcus looked at the report on her tablet. It showed that guest happiness was up by 30%. Complaints were down by 45%. The hotel was doing much better. "This is great work, Sarah," Marcus said. "Tell me about the 5th floor." Sarah smiled proudly. "All the rooms on the 5th floor have been fixed. New windows, better showers, faster internet. We've replaced the old TVs with new ones. The carpet in the hallway is new too." "And how are guests responding?" Marcus asked. "Very well," Sarah replied. "Room 512, where you stayed, is now one of our most requested rooms. People say it has character." Marcus laughed. "That's wonderful. And the staff training?" "Everyone has completed the new training program," Sarah said. "From the doorman to the cleaning staff. Everyone now knows that every guest deserves the same great service." Marcus nodded, pleased with the progress. Then he had a new idea. "Sarah, I want to try something," he said. "Next week, I'm going to visit our hotel in New York, but I won't tell them I'm coming. I want to see if they have the same problems the Pinnacle had." Sarah's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. Should I come with you?" "Yes," Marcus decided. "You know what to look for now." The next week, Marcus and Sarah flew to New York. They didn't tell anyone at the New York hotel they were coming. They dressed in casual clothes and took a taxi from the airport. The New York hotel was called The Summit. It was the second hotel Marcus had opened in his Johnson luxury group. Like the Pinnacle, it was a tall, beautiful building with 50 floors. When they walked into the lobby, no one recognized them. It was perfect. At the front desk, a young man greeted them. "Good evening and welcome to the Summit. How may I help you?" "We need a room for tonight," Marcus said. "We don't have a reservation." The young man, whose name tag said David, smiled and began typing on his computer. "Let me see what we have available." Marcus and Sarah exchanged a look. This was just like what had happened at the Pinnacle 3 months ago. "We have a lovely room on the 32nd floor with a view of Central Park," David said. "Would that work for you?" Marcus was surprised. This was one of the best rooms in the hotel, and David was offering it to walk-in guests with no reservation. "That sounds perfect," Marcus said. "Thank you." As David processed their check-in, he asked, "Would you like a welcome drink while you wait? We have water, juice, or champagne." "Water would be nice," Sarah said. David got them water right away. Then he explained all the hotel services, looking at them directly and smiling genuinely. "The restaurant on the top floor is open until midnight. The gym and pool are on the 3rd floor, open 24 hours. Is there anything special you need during your stay with us?" "No, this is perfect," Marcus said, impressed by the service. As they walked to the elevators, Sarah whispered, "This is completely different from the Pinnacle before we changed things." Marcus nodded. "Let's see if the room is as good as the service." When they got to their room, they were amazed. It was beautiful, clean, and everything worked perfectly. The view of Central Park was stunning. "I think the Summit is doing a better job than we thought," Marcus said with a smile. "Maybe we don't need to fix anything here," Sarah suggested. Marcus shook his head. "There's always room to improve. Let's order room service and see how that goes." They were about to find out if the Summit treated all its guests equally well, or if they had just been lucky. Marcus picked up the hotel phone to call room service. Sarah sat by the window, looking at the beautiful view of Central Park. The lights of New York City were starting to come on as the sun went down. "Room service, how may I help you?" a friendly voice answered. "We'd like to order dinner," Marcus said. "2 steaks, please. Medium rare." Of course, sir. Would you like any drinks with that? Just water is fine, Marcus replied. Your dinner will be ready in about 20 minutes, the voice said. Is there anything else you need? No, thank you, Marcus said and hung up. 20 minutes, he told Sarah. Let's see if they keep their promise. While they waited, Marcus and Sarah checked everything in the room. The window closed perfectly. The shower had hot water right away. The TV was new and worked well. The internet was fast. This room is perfect, Sarah admitted. I can't find anything wrong. Marcus nodded. The summit seems to be doing everything right. I wonder why. Exactly 18 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. A young woman in a hotel uniform stood there with a cart of food. Good evening, she said with a smile. I have your dinner. She rolled the cart into the room and set up their food on the small table by the window. The steaks looked perfect. There was even a small vase with a flower on the tray. Is there anything else I can get for you? She asked. No, this looks wonderful, Marcus said. Thank you. After she left, Marcus and Sarah sat down to eat. The food is hot and delicious, Sarah said after taking a bite. And they were early, not late. Marcus nodded, thinking hard. Something is different here. The Pinnacle and the Summit are run the same way, with the same rules, but the Summit is giving better service. We need to find out why. The next morning, Marcus called the hotel manager of the Summit and asked him to come to their room. He didn't say who he was. He just said he wanted to talk about his stay. 20 minutes later, there was a knock at the door. A tall woman in a black suit stood there. Good morning, she said. I'm Elena Torres, the manager of the Summit. You wanted to speak with me. Marcus opened the door wider so she could see him better. Hello, Elena. Elena's eyes went wide. Mr. Johnson, I had no idea you were staying with us. That was the point, Marcus said with a smile. Please come in. This is Sarah, the new guest experience manager from the Pinnacle in Chicago. Elena shook Sarah's hand, looking confused. Is everything okay with your stay? Is there a problem? That's what I want to talk about, Marcus said. There is no problem. Everything has been perfect. But at the Pinnacle, we had many problems until recently. I want to know what you're doing differently here. Elena sat down and thought for a moment. I'm not sure we're doing anything special, Mr. Johnson. We just follow the basic rule you taught us when you opened this hotel. What rule is that? Marcus asked, curious. Treat every guest like they own the place, Elena said simply. You told us that 5 years ago when the Summit opened. We've never forgotten it. Marcus looked at Sarah. They both smiled. It was so simple. The Pinnacle forgot that rule, Marcus admitted. But we're fixing it now. Is that why you came? Elena asked. To check on us. Yes, Marcus said. But I didn't need to. You're doing everything right. Elena looked proud. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. After Elena left, Marcus turned to Sarah. Now we know what makes the Summit special. They remembered the most important rule of the hotel business. Treat every guest like they own the place, Sarah repeated. It's so simple, but so important. Marcus nodded. And that's what we need to make sure happens at all our hotels. Every guest deserves to feel special, not just the ones in expensive rooms or the ones we recognize. For the rest of the day, Marcus and Sarah walked around the Summit, watching how the staff treated guests. Everyone received the same excellent service, from the person in the cheapest room to the family in the most expensive suite. On their last night at the Summit, Marcus made a decision. It's time to check all our hotels, he told Sarah. We need to make sure every Johnson Luxury Group hotel treats every guest like they own the place. Sarah smiled. Where are we going next? Los Angeles, Marcus said. And this time, let's make it even harder. Let's see how they treat people who don't look rich or important at all. They were about to learn even more about their hotel chain and about how people are treated based on how they look or dress. It would be their biggest test yet. 2 weeks later, Marcus and Sarah arrived in Los Angeles. This time, they had a more difficult plan. They wanted to see how the Palms, their Los Angeles hotel, would treat guests who didn't look rich or important. Marcus wore old jeans with a hole in one knee. His t-shirt was faded, and he hadn't shaved in 3 days. Sarah wore simple clothes too, plain pants and a cheap shirt. They both wore old sneakers. They took a bus to the hotel instead of a taxi. When they walked into the fancy lobby of the Palms, people stared at them. They didn't look like the usual guests at this 5-star hotel. "Ready?" Marcus whispered to Sarah. She nodded. They walked up to the front desk together. A man in a perfect suit looked at them with surprise. His name tag said Robert. He smiled, but it didn't seem real. "Can I help you?" he asked. His voice was cold. "We need a room for tonight," Marcus said. "We don't have a reservation." Robert looked them up and down. "I'm sorry, but we're fully booked tonight." Marcus knew this wasn't true. Just like at the Pinnacle and the Summit, he had checked the booking system on his phone. The Palms had many empty rooms tonight. "Are you sure?" Marcus asked. "We really need a place to stay." "Completely sure," Robert said firmly. "You might want to try the motel down the street. It's more suitable for your needs." Sarah looked at Marcus. This was worse than they expected. The Palms wasn't just giving them a bad room. They were refusing to give them any room at all. Just then, a woman in a manager's uniform walked by. She stopped and looked at Marcus for a long moment. Then her eyes went wide. "Mr. Johnson," she said in shock. "Is that you?" Robert's face turned white. He looked from his manager to Marcus and back again. "Hello, Patricia," Marcus said calmly. "Yes, it's me. I'm doing a little test of our hotels. This is Sarah, my guest experience manager." Patricia, the hotel manager, looked horrified. "Robert, do you know who this is?" Robert shook his head, too shocked to speak. "This is Marcus Johnson," Patricia said. "The owner of this hotel, the CEO of Johnson Luxury Group." Robert looked like he might faint. "Mr. Johnson, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you." "That was the point," Marcus said. "But I'm not happy with what I just saw. You told us you were fully booked when you're not. You suggested we go to a motel because of how we look. Is this how the Palms treats people?" Patricia stepped forward. "Mr. Johnson, please let me apologize. This is not how we train our staff." "Actually," Marcus said, "I think it is. The real test of a hotel isn't how it treats people who look rich or important. It's how it treats everyone who walks through the door." Patricia nodded. "You're absolutely right. This is unacceptable." Marcus turned to Robert. "Why did you lie about the hotel being full?" Robert looked down. "The hotel has an image to keep. We have many celebrity guests. If people think anyone can stay here, the celebrities might stop coming." Marcus shook his head. "That's not what my hotels stand for. We don't judge people by how they look or how much money they seem to have." Marcus then addressed the other staff who had gathered around. The Johnson Luxury Group was built on one rule: treat every guest like they own the place. At the Summit in New York, they remember this rule. Here at the Palms, you've forgotten it. The staff looked ashamed. Patricia spoke up. "We will fix this, Mr. Johnson. I promise." "Good," Marcus said, "because I'm making a big change in all my hotels starting today." "Sarah, tell them our new plan." Sarah stepped forward. "From now on, each Johnson luxury hotel will have mystery guests every month. These people won't look rich or famous. They'll be ordinary people. How you treat them will determine if you keep your job." The staff looked nervous. They understood how serious this was. "So," Marcus said to Robert, "do you still think you're fully booked tonight?" Robert quickly typed on his computer. "We actually have a beautiful suite available on the top floor, Mr. Johnson. The best room in the hotel." Marcus shook his head. We don't want special treatment now that you know who I am. Give us whatever room you would give to any guest walking in off the street. The lesson of the palms was the most important one yet, and Marcus was just getting started with his plan to change all his hotels. 6 months had passed since Marcus and Sarah's trip to Los Angeles. In that time, big changes had come to all 5 hotels in the Johnson Luxury Group. Marcus sat in his office in Chicago, looking at reports from all his hotels. The numbers told a good story. More guests were coming back. Online reviews were better. The hotels were making more money than ever before. There was a knock on his door. Sarah came in with a tablet in her hand and a big smile on her face. "Good news?" Marcus asked. "The best," Sarah replied. "The mystery guest program is working perfectly. Last month, all 5 hotels passed the test, even the Palms in Los Angeles." Marcus nodded, pleased. "What about Robert, the front desk clerk who tried to send us to a motel?" "He's changed completely," Sarah said. "After your special training program, he's become one of our best employees. Last week, he helped a homeless man who came into the hotel just to get warm. Instead of asking him to leave, Robert gave him a free meal and called a shelter that could help him." Marcus smiled. "That's exactly what I wanted to hear. People can change when they're given the right example." Sarah sat down across from Marcus. "So what's next? We've fixed all 5 hotels. What do we do now?" Marcus looked out his window at the Chicago skyline. "I've been thinking about that. It's time to grow. I want to build 5 more hotels in the next 3 years." Sarah's eyes went wide. "That's a big goal." "Yes," Marcus agreed. "But now we know exactly how to run them the right way from the start." "Where will the first new hotel be?" Sarah asked. "Singapore," Marcus replied. "I just bought land there last week. Construction starts next month." Just then, Marcus's phone rang. He answered it. "Hello." It was Michael Chen, the manager of the Pinnacle in Chicago. "Mr. Johnson, I'm sorry to bother you, but there's a situation in the lobby you might want to see." "What kind of situation?" Marcus asked. "It's better if you see for yourself," Michael said. "It's not bad, just interesting." "I'll be right down," Marcus said and hung up. He turned to Sarah. "Michael says there's something interesting happening in the lobby. Let's go see." They took the elevator down to the lobby. When the doors opened, Marcus was surprised at what he saw. A large group of people stood in the lobby. They all wore name tags and carried folders. At the front of the group was a woman with a microphone, talking to them. "And this is the Pinnacle Hotel, the first hotel where Mr. Johnson implemented his famous Every Guest Matters program," the woman was saying. "This program has changed the entire hotel industry." Marcus walked closer. The woman saw him and stopped talking. Her eyes went wide. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said excitedly, "this is amazing timing. Let me introduce Marcus Johnson himself, the CEO and founder of Johnson Luxury Group." The group started clapping and taking pictures. Marcus was confused. He looked at Michael, who was standing nearby. "What is this?" Marcus whispered to him. "It's a tour group of hotel management students," Michael explained. "They're studying your methods. This is the 3rd group this month. People from all over the world are coming to see how we run our hotels." Marcus was shocked. He didn't know his changes had become famous in the hotel world. The woman with the microphone came over to him. "Mr. Johnson, I'm Professor Lee from Cornell University's Hotel Management School. Would you mind saying a few words to my students? They'd been studying your Every Guest Matters program for a semester." Marcus looked at the eager faces of the students. He hadn't planned to become a teacher or an example for others. He had just wanted to fix problems in his own hotels. "I'd be happy to," Marcus said. He took the microphone and faced the students. "The most important thing I've learned in the hotel business is very simple," he began. "It doesn't matter what a person looks like or how much money they have. Everyone deserves respect and good service. The students nodded and took notes. Marcus continued, "The true test of a great hotel isn't how it treats famous or rich guests. It's how it treats every person who walks through the door." As Marcus spoke to the students, he realized something important. His work had gone beyond just fixing his own hotels. He was changing how people thought about the whole hotel industry. His simple idea that every guest matters was spreading around the world. And it all started because he booked a room in his own hotel on a rainy night in Chicago. 1 year later, Marcus stood in the lobby of his newest hotel in Singapore. The Johnson Luxury Singapore was the tallest hotel in the city. Its glass walls sparkled in the sun. From the top floor, guests could see all of Singapore and even parts of Malaysia across the water. This was the first of the 5 new hotels Marcus had planned to build. It had taken a lot of work, but now it was finally open. "Are you ready?" Sarah asked, standing next to him. She still worked as his guest experience manager, but now she had a team of 20 people working for her. "Ready," Marcus nodded. He had grown a beard and wore glasses as part of his disguise. No one in this new hotel had met him in person yet. The local manager had only talked to him on video calls. Today was opening day. The hotel was full of guests. Marcus and Sarah would check in like normal people and see if this new hotel followed the "every guest matters" rule from the very start. They walked up to the front desk. A young man named Lee greeted them with a warm smile. "Welcome to Johnson Luxury Singapore. How may I help you today?" Lee asked. "We'd like a room for 3 nights, Marcus said. "We don't have a reservation." In the old days, this would have been a problem. But Lee just kept smiling. "Let me see what we have available for you." He typed on his computer. "We have a beautiful room on the 30th floor with a view of the harbor. Would that work for you?" "That sounds perfect," Marcus said, pleased with Lee's response. "Excellent. May I see your ID and a credit card, please?" Marcus handed over his ID and credit card. They were under a fake name he used for these tests. Lee processed everything quickly. "While we prepare your room, would you like some refreshments?" "We have a welcome drink for all our guests," Lee said, pointing to a table with cool drinks. "Thank you. That would be nice," Sarah said. As they drank their welcome drinks, Marcus looked around the lobby. Staff members were helping all guests with the same friendly attitude, whether they wore expensive clothes or simple ones like Marcus and Sarah. Their room was ready in just 10 minutes. A staff member named Mai showed them to their room. "If you need anything at all, just call the front desk," Mai said. "We're here to help 24 hours a day." The room was beautiful. Everything worked perfectly. The view of Singapore was amazing. "What do you think?" Sarah asked after Mai left. "I think we got it right from the start this time." Marcus smiled. "Let's test room service." They ordered dinner. It arrived in exactly 20 minutes, hot and perfect. The server was polite and helpful. The next morning, they went down to the hotel restaurant for breakfast. A long line of people waited to be seated. Marcus and Sarah joined the end of the line. A few minutes later, a manager approached them. "Good morning. I notice you've been waiting. We have a table ready now if you'd like to follow me." "But what about all these people who were here before us?" Marcus asked, pointing to the line. The manager smiled. "Everyone who has been waiting will be seated in the next 5 minutes. We've opened up extra tables. No one will wait long, I promise." Sure enough, the manager quickly seated not just Marcus and Sarah, but everyone in the line, all within 5 minutes. After breakfast, they tested the hotel's other services. They asked for extra towels. Delivered in 5 minutes. They requested a map of Singapore. The staff member not only gave them a map, but also marked good places to visit. They asked for a late checkout, granted with no extra charge. On their last day, Marcus sat in their room looking at the Singapore skyline. "I think we've learned something important," he told Sarah. "What's that?" she asked. "It's easier to build a hotel the right way from the start than to fix one later," Marcus said. This hotel has the right spirit from day one. Sarah nodded. So what's next? We still have 4 more hotels to build. Marcus smiled. Next is Tokyo. But first, I think it's time to let the staff here know who has been staying with them. He picked up the phone and called the front desk. This is room 3045. Could the hotel manager come to my room, please? I have something important to tell them. The Singapore hotel had passed the test with flying colors. Now it was time for the big reveal. 10 minutes after Marcus called the front desk, there was a knock at the door. Sarah opened it to find a tall man in a perfect black suit standing there. Good morning. I'm Daniel Wong, the hotel manager. You asked to see me. He spoke politely, with a small bow. Yes, please come in, Marcus said, standing up. Daniel stepped into the room. He looked at Marcus for a moment, then his eyes grew wide with surprise. Mr. Johnson, is that you? Marcus smiled and took off his fake glasses. Yes, it's me. And this is Sarah Chen, my guest experience director. Daniel looked shocked. Sir, we had no idea you were here. Why didn't you tell us you were coming? Because I wanted to see how your hotel treats regular guests, Marcus explained. And I'm very happy with what I found. Daniel looked relieved. Thank you, sir. We've worked hard to follow your Every Guest Matters program. It shows, Marcus said. From the moment we arrived, every person in this hotel has given excellent service to every guest, not just to those who look important. Sarah added, your staff doesn't just follow rules. They truly care about people. Daniel smiled proudly. May I ask, sir, how did we compare to your other hotels? This is the best opening of any hotel in my company, Marcus said honestly. You got everything right from day one. Daniel looked like he might cry from happiness. That means so much to us, Mr. Johnson. We studied all the lessons from your other hotels. We didn't want to make the same mistakes. Marcus nodded. That's exactly what I hoped would happen. We learn from our mistakes and get better. Later that day, Marcus and Sarah met with all the hotel staff in the main ballroom. Over 200 people stood in neat rows, excited to meet the hotel owner in person. Marcus stood on a small stage. First, I want to thank you all for the wonderful service you've given not just to me, but to every guest in this hotel. For the past 3 days, I've been staying here as a regular guest. No one knew who I was, but everyone treated me with respect and kindness. The staff looked proud. Some whispered to each other, trying to remember if they had helped Marcus without knowing it. 3 years ago, Marcus continued, I stayed at my first hotel in Chicago. The service was not good. They gave me a bad room because they didn't know I was the owner. It was a painful lesson, but an important one. The room was completely silent now. Everyone listened carefully. That night changed everything for my company. It showed me that a truly great hotel treats every single guest like they own the place, and that's exactly what you've done here in Singapore. The staff broke into big smiles and applause. Today, I'm proud to announce that Johnson Luxury Singapore will be the model for all our future hotels. The methods you're using here will be taught to every new hotel we open around the world. Daniel, the manager, stepped forward. Mr. Johnson, we have a small gift for you. He handed Marcus a framed picture. It showed the entire hotel staff standing in front of the building on opening day. We took this picture on our first day, Daniel explained. We wrote our promise on the back. Marcus turned the frame over. On the back was written, we promise to treat every guest like they own the place. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. His simple idea had grown into something beautiful. What started as a bad night in Chicago had changed not just his hotels, but the lives of thousands of guests and employees. 5 years after that rainy night when Marcus Johnson walked unknown into his own hotel, he stood before the world's top hotel owners at an international conference. He had been asked to give the main speech about his success. People often ask me the secret to building a successful hotel chain, he told the audience. The answer is simple. Treat every single person who walks through your doors with the same respect and care, whether they look rich or poor, famous or unknown. He paused and looked out at the crowd. Because you never know, he said with a smile, that person in the simple clothes and messy hair just might own the place. The crowd laughed and then stood up to applaud. Marcus Johnson's story had become legendary in the hotel world. The black CEO who booked a room in his own hotel had changed the entire industry, one guest at a time. The end.